So let's take a look at Automation Studio and how to draw Lab 1. I'm actually going to show you how to draw Lab 1 and do the whole thing. I'm also going to show you some other videos on how you can get some practice actually with Automation Studio. Welcome to the video. Welcome to Lab 1. We're going to talk about Automation Studio, how to build and Lab 1 in Automation Studio, and I'm also going to show you a couple other videos with some tricks to actually putting numbers in and copying and pasting, and they're on Blackboard. So let's just jump into this. So I'm going to start with Automation Studio. You guys know where it is. That's fine. I'm going to jump in here, graphic design and Automation Studio, because you've already used this for ATM and 110 Introduction to Controls. So you guys are experts at Automation Studio. You know where it is. I'm just starting it up. Let's take a look at Lab 1. So here we are with a blank screen. But before I start drawing, let's take a look at Lab 1 and see what it's all about. So I'm going to go back to the labs and I'm going to go into Lab 1 and we'll just watch these two videos, nice and simple and straightforward. So this guy, let me open this up all the way. Back and forth and back and forth. So it's pretty simple. We're going out and we're going back. So we've got two push buttons, two normally open push buttons. We've got a DCV in the middle and we have a cylinder. Now this cylinder doesn't have a spring in it, neither does the DCV. Let's take a look at the second part. So part 2, we take a look at this. I'm going to pause that. We're not using this push button. We're only using one push button. This guy is a DCV with a spring in it. So we've got a pilot activating the DCV and then a spring return or a spring normal. So it has the normal state because it's got a spring. And this cylinder, it's got a spring in it too. It has to have a spring in it. I talked about this in the lab, in the online lab, but take a look at this. This guy over here, that's fine. This guy can go back in its normal state and no longer make pressurized air come out of here. But for this thing to come back, well, the only way that's actually going to come back is if you actually put air in here and make it come back, or there's some other force that makes it come back. Yeah, and that's a spring inside because we know there's no air going in here. That's actually just an exhaust port. And the reason it exists is so that when it goes, wait a second, when it goes out, watch this, watch it, when it goes out, when it goes out, when it goes out. When it goes out, ready? Oh, there it goes. When it goes out, during the process of it going out, there's air on the other side that has to leave. Just stopping and pausing for a second, just to get a concept of exhaust. We need to have, all valves need exhaust. Now in this case, we don't need exhaust in this valve because, well, we only need one exhaust in this valve. We only need to exhaust this air during retraction, right? When the spring takes over and retracts this air, it's got to go somewhere. It's stuck. So this valve, when it goes back into its normal state, allows the air going in here to go out the exhaust. If we take a look at the other one, let me just open this guy up and let me make it big. So in this case, what's going on is that when this thing extends, the air that's stuck on this side has to come out. It goes out and it goes into here. So when this DCV is activated so that air is coming out of port 4, it means air that is connected to port 2 goes out to the exhaust, allowing the air to come out of the cylinder as it extends, and the reverse for when it retracts. So going back to Automation Studio, we need, for this one, we're going to do part 1 first and then part 2, and we'll see that all we have to do is save part 1 as a different file and then just change it a bit, and that'll be part 2. So we need 2 push buttons, we need a DCV, and we need a double acting cylinder. So let's go back over here and take a look at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump down here to Pneumatics, right? So here we go with Pneumatics. I'm going to open up this whole thing. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. So what do we want to put in first? Well, let's put actually the actuator. So let's go to actuators and we want to go for a double acting cylinder. Okay, that's cool. So I'm going to go here. Now we're not going to put cushioning is. We're not going to put cushioning in, whatever cushioning is. We'll talk about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this guy in here. It's a double acting cylinder and I'm just going to dump it right in there. Okay, so that's my double acting cylinder. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to hold the control key down. I'm going to put my mouse in about where I want to zoom, and I'm just going to use the scroll button, and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, good. So now I'm going to talk about labeling a little bit later. Actually, I'm not even going to talk about labeling. I'm just going to tell you to go here. Watch this. This is great. These videos here, if I'm going to go into the labs, you got to watch these videos. They're so empowering. This video is about how to actually take an Automation Studio drawing and put it into a Word document, which we'll do later because you're going to have to do reports later on. But for Lab 1, all I need you to do is just do the drawings and hook up the circuit. So here, I need you to watch this video, and it's about how to add text into your drawings. And this is about how to copy and paste. Essentially, what I did here is, let me just actually, what I did was, in that first video, I drew, not even in the first video, what I did was I drew all of this first, I copied it, and then I pasted it over here, and I just changed some names. So that's a really good video to watch. But this video here walks you through how to actually draw the text. So the other thing is that you absolutely need to, and I've got some cool music in here. That's some Jimmy. All right, so what's going on here is that you have to put, okay, so you've got to put port numbers on your valves. You have to do all of this. All of these labels you have to put into Lab 1. It's absolutely crucial. It's absolutely crucial. Yeah, okay, so let's continue on. So watch those two, and that's good. What I'm going to show you is how to do the bare bones of Lab 1. Okay, good. So we've got this guy going on. Whoa, I didn't mean to click on that. I mean, I guess I did, but if I do click on it, it allows me to kind of modify it. So right now, what I need is, I've got this guy going on. Now, let me put a DCV. Now, the nature of a DCV, what kind of valve is a DCV? Well, it's a 5-port valve, depending on the type of cylinder we're driving. But in this case, we need a 5-port valve. And should it be pilot operated? Should it be, what should it be? Well, in this case, it needs to be pilot operated because we're using 2 push buttons, 2 air operated push buttons or pneumatic push buttons to drive the valve or to control the DCV. So it's got to be a 5.2. Now, we could use a 5.3, but that would allow us to stop the cylinder in between. But the valve we're using in Lab 1 is not a 5.3. Let's just use a 5.2. So I'm going to close this actuators, and I'm going to go here. Oh, look, directional valves. Oh, sweet. Oh, 5.2. Oh, it's right there. Isn't that awesome? Now my problem is, well, there are a bunch of them here. Which one do I choose? The one that I want has got pilot on either side and no springs. These are all like weird fancy things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose one of these, and I'm just going to grab this one. It's the simplest. Now I'm going to put it a little bit over to the left, and there's a method to my madness. Just hold with me for a second here. The reason I'm putting a little bit over to the left is because I need you to think of this as a template for all of your labs, right? So to do Lab 2, you're going to open up Lab 1, you're going to modify it, and then just save it as Lab 2. So in this case, I'm putting on a bit to the left because in Lab 2, I know that you're going to have what's called a limit valve. You're going to put a limit valve in here, so you kind of need space for that limit valve. So I'm just putting it over there just kind of for future. So right now, this valve, I need to modify it. So I'm going to, because I'm going to get rid of this and this. Let's turn those into pilots. I'm going to double click on it. Now, right here, what's going to happen is that something's going to open up like this. Now, it could default to data. I need you to click on Builder. When you go into Builder, you can modify anything in this valve. Right now, I just want to change this. So I'm going to click on it, then I'm going to double click it to say, okay, I want to modify it. So I'm going to go down here. I'm actually going to choose this. You can scroll as well. I'm going to modify this one. I'm going to double click it. I'm going to double click this guy, and I'm going to scroll down here, and I click on this. Now you can do 2 things. You can double click it, or you can hit this and save this. That's fine. So now it's done. I'm going to click on this and close, and my valve has been modified. So I'm just going to hook this guy up here, and this guy up here, and this guy up here, and that guy up there. Now this is done. Although, no, wait, it's not done. Let me add some things. I have to add my exhausts here, and I have to add air coming in here. Now, right now, I'm just going to say, what you're going to do is go to pneumatic. I'm just going to close this down. Just go to like the main pneumatic page, and you've got all the kind of the basics in here. At the very top, there's the pneumatic source. Now, I want you to use, for Lab 1, I want you to use a pneumatic source, and here, an exhaust, and there an exhaust. For Lab 2, we're going to get into putting the pressure regulator in here, but for now, just throw your pneumatic source in there, and we're good. So, now we're almost done. We can almost move forward, but what you need to do is you need to do some labeling. You need to label your port numbers. You need to label this cylinder. You need to label the activation over here and over here. Now, you can either label with activation numbers, or in this case, you can put cylinder A extend or cylinder B extend. So what I need you to do right now, actually even before you have started this video, I need you to watch these guys. Hopefully you did, but this is a great video on how to actually add port numbers. So it's important that you add text and you label your cylinder. And then later on, you label the DCV. I don't care if you label the DCV or not, but I need you to then watch this video, and then you can learn how to make your port numbers and then put the port numbers in the right places. And then finally, your valve will be done. And then you can label the activations. So A plus and then A minus. And I need you to put them here. Anyway, you watch that video. There's A minus and there's, well, just back up there. You're going to have A plus and A minus. So you can either put an activation here. So you can put your activation numbers here, in that this activation is going to make 1, 2. So you can put a 1, 2 here and a 1, 4 here. Or you can put A plus and A minus, which tells you what's going to happen to the cylinder when air goes into this pilot, or when you activate this side. So put all of those in. Going back to Automation Studio, I'm just going to pretend that you've put all of this information here. You put all of your port numbers in. You labeled the cylinder. You made this A minus, A plus. Now we can move on. So with that, I want to add some push buttons. So because I'm doing part 1, which is a push button on one side and push button on the other side. So is there some place here where I can find push buttons? Well, actually, no. A push button is a type of control valve. So it does do directional control. So what we can do is we can go in here and choose. But we know that a push button is a 3-2 valve. Absolutely, you know that. Which one do I use? Do I use the normally closed and the normally open? Well, when I press it, I want it to become open and I want air to go through it. So I'm gonna click on this guy. Now I've got all of these different types, but there is no push button one here. Again, same thing. Just grab the one that works best for you. You put it over here and I'm going to modify it. Now, I got a problem here. This guy is not orientate. The orientation of this is completely wrong. Right now, I'm just going to hit Control H. Nice and simple, eh? There's another way to do that. I'm going to hit Control Z, so I undo that. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to go transformation and I'm going to go rotate right. So one or the other, you can do one or the other and that's fine. Let's continue that kind of thought process. And I'm going to go into pneumatic and I'm going to grab these because I know I need an air source here and I also know I need an exhaust. So I'm going to take my air source. Now again, I can do this 2 ways. Transformation, rotate. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to hit Control Z. Control Z is such a great thing to do. Okay, rotate right. Now, I don't even like to do that because I can just do this. Exhaust, Control H. It's great. Okay, good. So now that's in there. Whoa, no, let me pull that over there. Now, you know it won't be connected if this guy stays red. Now, what I need you to do is double click on this. I need you to turn that into a push button. Give it a sec. Here we go. I'm gonna highlight this, double click it, and I'm gonna choose a push button, double click, and actually I can just close this and save the changes and it'll be a push button. Okay, good. Now, before you move forward, I need you to label this again as A+. You've already got an A+ here, right? Because you can see that it says A+ because you put it there. I didn't do it because I did it in this video. But just grab this A+ and put it here, or maybe you should write extension. It's probably best to put here. Type in retraction or extension right there. Now, put your valve numbers in here, your port numbers. You've got your port numbers in, you've got this labeled, you've got this actual push button labeled, indicating what it does. So you can say extension and retraction, or extension or retraction, whatever you want. So you've got this labeled as extension, you've got all your port numbers in here. Watch this, you'll love this. Select the whole thing, plus the text on top, Control C, Control V, and all of a sudden you've got it all over again. And just your text up here that says extension, just change it to retraction or whatever you typed in. Now, I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to put him over here. Now, right here for lab 1, you can leave this here and you can put it, say, right here, and that's not a problem because there is no limit valve in the way, so you can put it there. Now, this guy, I'm going to put over here. Do you know what? Just for like a visual, it's important that your reader looks at this and feels good about your drawing. It has to look good. It can't be kind of all over the place. Look, if I were to put this here, and if I were to put this guy up here, and then I connect it here to there, if I did that, I mean, it's okay. I mean, technically it will work. It doesn't look good, it doesn't feel good. You have to think about your reader or the person who's going to be viewing your work. Put this here. it flows better in the visual. It flows better, and therefore in the mind it flows better. Okay, good. So you always got to think about your reader, and so that you think about their experience. Okay, so put this over here. I'm going to put it in alignment with the other one, so that they are in alignment. So wait, I'm just going to move that. Yeah, I think that should go down. Good. Now I'm going to connect this guy over to here. And I got that guy in. So, and everything's labeled, right? I mean, you will label it. Now I'm going to do my simulation. Okay, good. When I click on this, watch this. You'll love this. Isn't that really cool? And then when I click on this, it retracts. Isn't that awesome? Okay, good. So that's lab 1, part 1 done. Now, how do you change it to lab 2? Well, remember, lab 2 didn't have this. Just delete it. Okay, I'm going to delete this line, and I'm going to grab these guys. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. So you got to be careful what you're selecting. I'm just going to select one at a time and delete it, one at a time and delete it. So Automation Studio is a little funky. It's a little picky. Now, this has to be a spring. I'm going to click on this, give it a sec. Good. So I'm going to select this, double click on it, and I'm going to make it a spring. Okay, so where's my spring? Where do I just scroll? Oh, spring. Sweet. Okay, good. So I'm going to close that and say yes to my changes, and that's good. Now, the problem is this isn't going to work. I need to change the cylinder to 1 with I just double clicked on it. Just give it a sec. There we go. So what I want to do is I want to put a spring in here. So I want to change the nature of this cylinder. I want to take this, and can I delete it? Yeah, I want to double click on this, and I'm just going to do this so there's nothing, and then I'm going to add a spring in here. Now, but which spring do I want? I want this thing to retract. So this line here, let's put one in and see what happens. This line over here, I'm going to double click on that. I see, single click. This line indicates, this line on the left indicates where the piston is. So if I wanted to put a spring on this side, I'd click this one. Actually, I'll do that. See what happens. See, the spring's in there. So that's done, and now I'm going to save. I'm going to click on that, and that automatically saves it. Now, it's done. But the thing is, I don't need this, right? Oh, no. Actually, you know what? This will actually work. Let's do this, but it's not right because this is not the type right valve. So I'm going to do this and let go, and it'll come back and forth. But we know that the DCV that's used in the lab is not this DCV. So actually, I'm just going to delete this DCV, and I'm going to take these guys, maybe just move them out of the way for now. I'm going to grab the right DCV. Well, which one was it? It was actually, it was a 2-3 for sure, but how do you know which one it is? Well, let's try a couple of them. Let's put this in here, and I'm going to put that here so it goes right to there. Now, see, it's connected. I'm going to double click on this guy. It doesn't actually matter which one you put in because you can always modify it and change it in the builder. Here we go. So now this guy, I know that's going to be a pilot. I selected it, I double clicked it, and I'm going to go down here to pilot, double click it. Good. So now I'm just going to close this and think about if this is correct. Again, I'm going to put this guy here. I got to connect everything up. Now this guy, I don't need it. I mean, it's just, it doesn't exist. No, I mean, that shouldn't actually be there. Let me double click on this. This guy, if I double click on here, he should be there. That's simple. Now this shouldn't be here at all. Can I delete it? I don't know, actually. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to deal with that. It shouldn't actually even be there. Do you know what? I'm just going to try something. I'm going to say that's fine. My problem is there's a port here. I'm going to delete this. Nice and simple. And then I'm going to go in here to my actuators. So I'm going to go pneumatic. Actually, I'm going to close this guy. Okay, good. So I'm going to open my actuators up, and then I'm going to go full down here. Here we go. Single acting cylinders. Okay, awesome. So now this is the one I want. I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to dump it right here. Now, you've already got the labels here, and you've already got your numbers that are here. And these numbers are already here as well. So all you have to do is delete some of the numbers and move them around a little bit, and then you'll be good. So I'm actually going to bring that cylinder over here maybe a little bit. Yeah. Good. So you've got your numbers in here. Now I need power here, and I need exhaust here. Now, I selected this. valve. I'm going to just I'm going to select it and kill it, delete it. So I selected this kind of valve because I knew that I needed a normally closed valve, but what if I had put a normally open valve in there? You know what, watch this. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to go back to my valves, directional control valves, 3, 2, and I'm going to use a different valve. I'm going to use a normally open valve. Oh, here we go. Sorry, the normally open valves are right here, of course. I'm going to use a normally open valve, and I'm going to put that there. And then a couple different things I could do. I have to change this. I can click on this, and I can go into my builder, and I can change these. I can actually change these. So there are lots of different ways that you can manage this. I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to go back to that valve. Now I'm going to simulate it. There you go. It's working. It's perfect. So that's it. That's all you need to do for your lab 1. But you have to, make sure your labels will already be here. And then you can delete you have A+ here. You will have A+ there, and you will have A- here. So you can just delete. You can get rid of that, because it doesn't need to be there. So good. And then there you go. And then those, what you need to do is you need to submit those. So the way you submit those is that you're going to have to go in and download this file and then upload it to Blackboard. And I will show you where you're going to submit it. So at the bottom of Lab 1, you're going to go down here and you're going to go in here and then submission of work. So in this case, we're only submitting one thing. In Lab 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I want you to submit more, and click on this. And then browse your computer wherever it is and grab the file because you downloaded it. It's probably in your downloads. Just go to your downloads and it'll be right there. I've already got a bunch of these here that I've already downloaded. These came straight from Automation Studio. So just click on it and upload it and that's fine. So, or more specifically, those came from Automation Studio AppStream. Okay, good. So you guys know what to do and I think you're good. And any questions, let me know. Oh, goodbye.